Alrighty, here we go. This is probably going to be boring. Probably the most boring video you had. So, just try to stick with me, I guess. The Spanish-American War from April 21st, 1898 to August 13th, 1898. This happened because America's support for Cubans under Spanish rule, and the what finally happened in the end, the outcome, was that the USS Maine battleship exploded. Imperialism is extending a country's forces by military rule. Europe had a lot more of imperialism. That's how they were compared to America. Yellow journalism is crude or obscene exaggeration. An example of yellow journalism is saying that this coronavirus is the second coming of Christ and that it's going to wipe out everyone on Earth. And it's going to be just a giant extermination of people. Imperial Spain owned Cuba, Guam, and the Philippines. The Cuban Rebellion was led by Fidel Castro. Spain wouldn't let Cuba become independent, so McKinley declared war. And his beliefs on declaring war was he didn't want to. He wanted America to be isolationist. He wanted to not get involved with outside matters of America. He didn't want to get involved with anything else outside of America. Just didn't want to do it. I pressed the back button. Okay. So the USS Maine exploded because yellow journalists were quick to blame Spain for the USS Maine explosion, and the first part of this whole entire war was the attack on the Philippines. America's first attack on Spain was in the Philippines. The American Navy left Hong Kong for an attack on the Philippines. In 7 hours, America destroyed Spain's entire Pacific fleet. Part 2 of the war, in Florida, Roosevelt assembled cowboys, miners, policemen, and college athletes to go fight the Spanish in Cuba. They called themselves the Rough Riders. Part 2 of this was that the Americans, led by Teddy Roosevelt, charged up the hill despite the Spanish having the high ground. America won the battle. 144 Americans were killed. And they went up this hill to get to a Spanish stronghold called San Juan Hill. Part 3 of this battle was in the final blow. America destroyed all Spanish ships as they tried to leave. So they wouldn't really get away. They just destroyed the whole entire fleet. Fewer than 400 Americans died in battle, and 2,000 Americans died from food poisoning from meat made in America. Alrighty. In this war, the Americans gained from Spain, and what they got from Spain was that granted Cuba's independence, gave America $20 million in damages, gave America all their territories, which was Guam, Philippines, and Puerto Rico. And America made sure Cuba stayed independent as long as they got a piece of Cuba called Guantanamo Bay. The Philippine-American War. The reason for this war was that the reason and the outcome for this war was that America owned the Philippines, but the people of the Philippines, the islanders, wanted complete independence. McKinley knew that if they gave them independence, their society would erupt into an anarchy. For 50 years, there was a battle between those two people, the islanders and America. 4,000 Americans would die, 200,000 Filipinos would die. Alrighty. So, President McKinley died because of an anarchist that killed him. It was very similar to Andrew Garfield's death. Alright, that's about it. I know it was boring, I'm sorry, but I'll send you the link to this, and, well, that's about it. There's two people on these slides, and I don't know who they are, but thank you for listening to my spiel.